everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we will be learning how to do cubic right angle weave. Now I'm gonna explain how to do it, the easiest way to start off. So if you are a total beginner and if you've never done cubic right angle weave stitch, this video will be perfect for you. Now I already made one. I attached a very fancy clasp here. It's just a toggle clasp really, but fancy one, and it's quite long by itself when you wear it. I don't know if I can wear it on the camera, but I'll try. It's just when I was stitching this bracelet, the color of the beads was so cute that I thought, you know, I just have to finish it off fancy as well. So I just added a big clasp and it just looks really nice. But I didn't realize that this clasp adds so much length to your bracelet that I kept on going, and it's quite big for me. I prefer quite snug around my wrist, so I don't know, I might fix it or maybe gift someone, but it's very cute. But the concept of adding the clasp here, it's really same. Well, the main purpose of this video, I wanted to teach you how to do the cubic right angle weave, and then in the end I don't want to waste the sample we did, so I'm just gonna get it to the length I need to my bracelet. I'm just gonna attach the clasp so you have a nice bracelet. But today I'm not gonna attach this clasp. I prepared another fancy one, and it doesn't really matter which clasp you have as long as it has two holes. The whole thing about this stitching, the sewing in the clasp is hiding these two holes or attaching these two holes to your bracelet. So I'm using this hook type of, I really like this clasp as well. So see how long it is from one hole to another one. So I also have to keep in mind here that whatever length of bracelet I want, I have to deduct this part, because this part is also gonna, see how long it is, almost here, from here. So my bracelet has to start from here and end here, and then this will continue the length. So we're gonna attach this clasp. So all you're gonna need is one clasp. You're gonna need your seed beads. Now, because we're not doing any design or anything, it's just a simple rope of cubic right angle weave. You can use any beads you have, but I'm using Toho 11s. I'm gonna leave you the code of this color if you fancy it. We're gonna need a Nymo size D, it's nylon thread, and then you're gonna need a beading needle size 10. You can use 11 if you have. And then you'll need something sharp and like a toothpick, or basically I don't really use this when I do my cubic right angle weave, but I think it will be easiest way to show how to start off. And then you just need your scissors to trim off. So let's get to work. Now I went ahead and thread my needle. I took about a meter of the thread. Now, just because I'm doing a tutorial, I want to focus on the camera and what I'm doing, not my tail, but you can take longer. You just have to be comfortable with the length of thread you have. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up 4 seed beads and build the floor of the cube. So basically, to easily explain the concept of the cube and cubic right angle weave, I'm gonna be calling the bottom the floor, and then the sides of the cube I'm gonna be calling the walls, and then the ceiling. So I think that will be easier to explain. So I have my 4 seed beads that gonna make up the floor of the first cube, and I'm gonna leave about 30 centimeters, about 12-inch tail. You can leave longer if you're not comfortable with short tail left, because we're gonna need that thread, this tail, to add one side of the clasp. So I'm just gonna go ahead, keep my seed beads here, and tie overhand knot, just a simple knot, just to hold our work in place. It doesn't have to be super tight with many knots to make sure you can cut off the tails, because we're still gonna continue this side. I'm just gonna make sure I have the tail I need. I think that's enough. And then tie another one. So now I'm gonna zoom in and then we continue. Now here you can see 4 seed beads, and they sort of create a square. That's what we need. This square will be the floor of our first cube. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put it on the peak, and then I'm using a pick to ensure when I'm building the sides and the ceiling, I know where the bottom of the cube is. So I'm just gonna go ahead, pick up, wait, see, when we tied knot, our thread is kind of stuck between 2 seed beads. It's not really coming out of anywhere, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go through neighbor, seed bead, and now it's coming out of here. And now we're gonna build the first wall of the cube. We're gonna pick up 3 seed beads and then go through the same seed bead through the other side. So we're basically creating another square, and this is already one wall. Now we're gonna go through the other side of the, we're gonna go again through another seed bead of the floor, and now we have to build a second wall. Now when I pull my thread, you can see this unit kind of pops up, so that kind of is already creating one side of the cube. And now you can see I already have the bottom and one side of the second wall, and all I do is pick up 2 seed beads, go up through the side and through the bottom, and then pull my thread. Now when I pull everything, you can see I already have 2 walls. Now I go again through a third bead of the floor, and now we have to build the third wall of the cube. I pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and the floor. And then when I pull my thread, you will notice that we have 3 sides of our wall of our cube ready. Now here you can see, I don't know if you can see, here we have one wall, here we have one wall, and then here we have one wall. Now we have to finish off our cube with the last wall, but when you kind of pull your thread, you can see that we already have most of the units ready for that wall. Now I'm gonna go through the last bead of the floor, and then I'm gonna go up through the side of the first wall we built. The only bead we are missing in our last wall is the ceiling unit. We pick up 1 seed bead, go through the side of the same wall we're building, and that bead just pops into place. So we have the last wall ready. And then we already have a cube, but it's not reinforced. Basically, our thread is so not tight yet that you can't really see the cube itself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and reinforce this last wall we built. I'm just gonna go through the beads of the last wall, pull my thread tight, and then this wall is ready. This say 4 beads, and kind of sort of creating a cube. Now I'm just gonna take my pick and take it straight. Now when we built our walls, we built our floor, and then we built our floors, but we never touched the ceiling. But when we built our walls, we already have all the units in place. Now all we have to do is reinforce the ceiling. See these 4 beads on top? They sort of create already the ceiling, but they are not connected. Look, if I take my needle and pull it, it's not sort of connected to the whole unit yet. So all I'm gonna do is just take my thread through all of them, and that will connect them together and reinforce our ceiling. I'm just gonna go through, you know, as many times as I like, but I think 1 time is quite enough. But just for the sake of the tutorial, I want everything to show properly, because when you are building the second cube on top of this, it kind of reinforces the thing over again. Now we have our first cubic right angle width unit. It's a cube. That's all it is. From now on, it's very easy. Now we built the floor, we built the sides, the walls, and we built the ceiling. The ceiling we don't really build, we just reinforce the sides. Now we have to build the second cube on top of this. And when you do that, you just realize that the ceiling of the first cube is actually the floor of the second cube. So we don't have to do floors anymore. All we do is start again building the walls. Now I'm just gonna still keep it on my pick until I have certain length that I'm comfortable holding, so you know where is the floor and where are the ceilings. I'm gonna pick up 3 seed beads. Now my thread is coming out here, so I have to go through the other side of the same bead. Now it's kind of flat, but it will pull up when you build the other walls. We go through the second bead of the floor. Now see, when I pull it, the ceiling kind of pops up into place. I'm gonna turn it over so you can see it. So we have the first wall. We came out through the second bead of the floor, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and through the bottom. And that should pop into place. See, the other wall is ready. Now we go through the third bead of the floor, pick up 2 seed beads, and now go through the side and through the floor. So we're basically constantly building squares, if you notice. Now we have all our 3 sides of the cube ready. Now I have to do all I have to do is just to add the ceiling, but I have to make sure my thread is there to add the ceiling, and I just go through the seed beads, the neighbor seed beads. So I went through the floor and the side, pick up 1 seed bead, go through the other side of this wall, just pull my thread, and that pops into place. Now we have all walls ready. All we do is just make sure we take our thread up to the top of the wall, and now all we do is connect the ceiling, because see, they are not connected. If you pull it, the seed bead kind of can fall on the sides. So all we have to do is just we connect them. We just go through them a couple times. Just to save your time, you can always, you know, go through several beads at the same time. Because imagine every time you pull your length, depending on the length of the thread you also have, how many hand movements you have to do. Now, we have 2 units of cubic right angle weave. And all we do is just continue the same way. Now we're gonna do a couple more times, just to ensure you understand what you're doing. Now we have the top of the second cube, which is the bottom of our third one, so we don't have to worry about building the floors anymore. I think in the cubic right angle weave, that's the hardest part. Now we came out here, we go through the same bead through the other side, building the first wall. We picked up 3 seed beads. Now that's the first wall ready. We go through the second bead of the floor to build the second wall. Pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and that left bottom. Now that's the second wall ready. We go through the seed bead, third seed bead of the floor to build the third wall. Pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and the bottom. Now we go through the bottom of the fourth wall to build the fourth wall. Now we already have this unit here, so we just go up the bead, pick up 1 seed bead and then go down. Now I'm just gonna reinforce this last wall, go up. Now I already have 3 units. I'm just gonna remove my pick. I can just hold it in my hand now. It's very easy to see where is the top and where is the bottom. And now we're gonna reinforce the ceiling, because our ceiling, look, it's not reinforced at all. It's kind of floppy. So all we have to do is just make sure we connect the beads of the ceiling. And it's very easy to know that they're connected when you kind of put your needle on top. You can see they're connected, see? And that's 3 units of cubic right angle weave. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And now we're gonna build a couple more. Now my thread is coming out, my thread coming out here. I'm just gonna unzoom a bit. I think it's quite hard to focus on the camera and my movements, my hand movements. Now we pick up 3 seed beads, go through the same bead through the other side, go through the bead of the next wall to build the second wall, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the wall and the floor, and that creates our second wall, go through the bead to create the third wall. 1, 2, go through the side and then to the floor. Now we have 3 walls ready. Now we go through the bottom of the 4th wall. Now we already have this unit here, so we go through up through that unit and just add 1 seed bead to create our last wall. And now it's in place. Now we have to do is reinforce our ceiling. I just go up the side and then I just go straight through 2 seed beads of the ceiling. Then this one, and then connect the last bead. See, it's not connected here. And now our ceiling is connected. You can see every single bead on cubic right angle wave has to be connected with the other beads. And when you connect the ceiling, see, it kind of creates this triangle. Basically, this seed bead has to be connected to this seed beads. This seed bead has to be connected to these 2 seed beads. And if you don't know if you've reinforced or not, I don't really look at the threads. The easiest way to tell is when you have your thread pulled, like let's say hold it like this, your seed beads should be stuck in place when you try to move them. But if they're not reinforced, you know, they'll be just opening up to the sides like a flower because they are not connected. So I think that's the easiest way to tell, because imagine counting the threads every time. So I'm just gonna pick up 3 seed beads. Now I came out on this side of the bead. I'm gonna go through the side, build our first wall, go through the bead of the second wall we're gonna build, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and go through the floor. That's gonna create our second square, which is our second wall. Go through the seed bead of the third wall, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and to the bottom. Now we go through the seed bead of the 4th wall, but because it's the last one, this unit is already there. Pick up 1 seed bead, go through the wall, and I'm gonna go straight through the bottom. Now we have the last wall ready. All I'm gonna do, take my needle up and then connect. Look what I mean. I have my thread pulled, right? Look what happens. They're just going all sideways. See, they're not connected. But what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna take my thread, take my needle, and connect those top beads. And now, when I have my thread pulled, look, they're all connected. See, that's how you know your ceiling is reinforced. Now we have, look, I'm gonna zoom in, I'm gonna show you. It kind of looks a flower as well. I always, you know, when I just started off doing the cubic right angle, I could never understand what do they mean square. They look like flowers. That's just because the size of the beads, because if you were using bigger beads, it would create that square, but because the beads are quite tiny, it kind of, you know, this is basically ceiling, this are the walls, this is the floor, and this should be like a square, but because the beads are small, it kind of creates a flowery shape. So this is the units, and the easiest way to count the units is count the holes here in the middle. So this is 1 unit, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. Now, I don't remember how many units I built for my bracelet, and it's so sparkly you can't even see, I think, but it's the same. See, it's the same size, it's the same beads, but it's just so sparkly. I couldn't do this for my tutorial. And all I'm gonna do is just continue until I have the length required minus the length of this clasp because I don't want to end up my bracelet being too long. So I'm gonna do a couple more cubes with you and I'm gonna let you continue. 1, 2, 3. The thread is coming out on this side, we go through the other side inwards. That's our first wall ready. Go through the bead of the second wall, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side, go through the bottom, pull it. We have our 2 walls ready. Now go through the bottom of the third wall, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side and go through the bottom. Now go through the bead of the last wall, but we already have this unit here, so I'm gonna go up this bead and then connect, add 1 last bead to make up our last wall. Go up, and now see we have the units of the wall ready, but if I pull my thread now, see it's all open. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna connect those beads. I'm gonna hold my work in place and pull it tight. Now when I hold it, look, they're all in place. Our ceiling is reinforced. Now we have supposed to have 6 units, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 units. Now we're gonna build 1 more and I'm gonna let you continue, and then we'll meet again to add the clasp. Now it's coming out here. We go through the same bead through the other side inwards, go to the floor of the second wall, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side, go through the bottom, second wall ready, go through the floor of the third wall, go through the bead of the third wall, pick up 2 seed beads, go through the side, go through the bottom, third wall ready. Now go through the bottom of the last wall. Now because it's last, we already have this unit here. We go up that side, pick up 1 seed bead and connect our last wall. Now go take our needle upwards to be able to connect this ceiling. And then pull my thread. And now we have 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm gonna let you continue. Make the length you need minus the length of your clasp. Like here, my clasp, when I put together, see how long it is from one point to another one. So I'm gonna make my length starting from here all the way to the other side. Now you can make it as long as you need, you can make it as short as you need. All the wrists have different lengths and different shapes. So I'm gonna meet you once you have your required length, and depending on what type of clasp you're using, make sure you leave that length out of the work because you don't want to end up with too long. So I'm gonna meet you once you have it and we're gonna attach the clasp. I didn't get to the point where I'm supposed to be yet, but my thread is almost finished, so I'm going to show you how to add a new thread and how to get rid of this old one. Now the way I'm going to show you, it's the way I do with any beading project. Well, the only difference that's going to be between the projects I do is the number of knots I'm going to make. In this one, the stitch is quite bouncy, so when you are done with your project, this stitch is in constant movement, so your threads inside are always moving. So you don't want to make only one knot, because one knot, you know, it can come apart and then the whole thing will come apart, and considering how much time you spent on it, you don't want that. So depending on how tight my work is, if I'm doing a period stitch, I usually do one knot and then hide the ends, but in this one I'm gonna make 3 knots. So the way I show you, I do with any other project. Depending what project, it will be different number of knots. So it's usually either 1 or it's either 3. Now in this one, I'm gonna take my needle. You can take a second needle. I just don't like using several needles at the time because, you know, I might just lose one and then I'll never find it. So whenever I do a project, I just use one. So I'm gonna thread into it and take another maybe 2 yards. I'll take a bit more because it's not gonna be on the camera, so I can concentrate on my thread. I cut it and then straighten it a bit. Wait, I need to find my needle. Okay, I have my needle. So see how curly it is a bit? So I'm just gonna, you know, pull it and then see it already kind of straight. And when you are working with it, you know, after a couple stitches, it will kind of straighten up. And now I removed my needle, so I don't have to worry about, you know, the needle there. Now I finished one unit. I came out in one side. Now I'm gonna sew in this thread and bring it out of the same point so I can continue from where I stopped off. And to do that, I'm gonna start off somewhere, like for example, it should be here. I'm gonna start off somewhere here. I'm gonna take my needle through. I don't have to leave a long tail because that's just the tail to cut. I just leave that so I can hold it in place with my other fingers while I'm doing a knot. I'm gonna go see where I came out. I'll go through the neighbor bead. I think I already have one knot on my, that's fine. So I took my, okay, I almost lost it. Look, see the tail, I'm holding it. I went through 2 beads. I'm gonna zoom in now to show you a bit. So I'm coming out of here. I'm just gonna pick up one of the existing threads. Take my needle through and leave a small loop and then take my needle through it. So now I have my first loop. It's not ready, it's not enough for me, so I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna take it through the neighbor bead. Take it up. And make another loop. I'm just gonna take my needle through the existing thread there. See what happens with long threads. I have one knot already here, so I will untangle that and then we'll continue. So I tangled it. It took me a while to loosen the knot so I could take the tangled up knots through it. So leave a loop, take my needle through. So we're making the second knot here. I'm just gonna pull it. Now it's pretty, you know, it's pretty tight, but I still want to make one more loop. So I'm gonna take my needle, see my thread coming out here, and then I have to end up here. So what I'm gonna do, okay, let's see where I wanna go. I'll go through the neighbor bead on the side. That's the small tail we have. And then I'm gonna make one more loop. Just wanna make sure I don't have any tangles. Okay, I'm gonna make one loop here. Now you wanna make sure that's almost the end of our work, so you wanna make sure your work is pretty tight here. So I'm just gonna hold this thread. I'm gonna make one loop here. You can start way below, make your knots, and then make your way up, but it's just the way I do. Take your needle through. Now we made all our 3 knots. I can remove this tail of the new thread now. I don't need it anymore. And then I'm gonna make my way to where I'm supposed to be. See this thread here? I have to take my needle all the way there. So I'm here, I'm gonna go up. You know what, I'm gonna go here and then, no, that's the way I came out. I'm gonna go up. And then I'm gonna go through the last 2 beads. Now you can see my both threads are coming out of the same bead. Now I'm gonna remove my needle. You can use another needle, but as I said, I don't like working with 2 needles at a time because I have tendency of losing them and it might end up hurting someone. So that's the new thread, the long one, and the short one, we're gonna get rid of it now. I'm gonna thread my needle back to the first thread. Okay, got it. See how short it is. I'm gonna make 3 loops again and then cut off the ends. Just don't want to tangle up with the existing one now. So I'm gonna zoom in again. That's where I came out. I'm gonna go through the neighbor bead. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go through neighbor bead and then I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna make my first loop here. I'm gonna go through. Okay, don't wanna get out that way. Go through the neighbor bead. Go down. And then go through another bead there. Well, it's quite hard to take 2 beads at a time because it's quite tight down here already because we've been tying up. And then take 1 more bead here. Then I'm gonna tie my second knot. Okay. Just have to pick up any existing thread. Oops. Okay, that went all the way through. I didn't leave a loop. Okay, I'm just gonna skip 1 bead. And then here I'm gonna make my second loop. Make sure to leave a small loop. Take my needle through. That's the second loop I made. So I'm gonna continue downwards. And then here I'm just gonna make my last loop. And that's it. I'm just gonna take my needle through a couple more beads. Remove my needle. See, and that's the tail we saw, and then just remove that. And now I don't have any tails that are on the way. I just have my new long thread, and then I'm just gonna put my thread it through my needle. Okay, done. And continue as I was. I just pick up 3 units and make my first wall. And then continue the way you were all the way until you have your required length. See you in a minute. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna show you how much I have. See, it's cute, isn't it? Like here it's in blue, and look at how sparkly in this one. I couldn't show on this one because it doesn't show on the camera when I do it because it's so sparkly. So see how like here you can see how I attached. Basically it's 2 seed beads on each side. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Like here, I put it on my wrist. You see how much I have left? So I want mine pretty tight around my wrist, and that's how much I have left. And then when I take my clasp, same. So it's pretty good fit. Now if your clasp is quite small, then you have to take your length all the way around it. You have to leave a small gap or no gap at all. but my clasp is quite long, so and I want it quite tight, because when I was measuring this, I forgot that how long is this clasp, and see how far it goes, and it's quite loose on my wrist. So we're gonna start from attaching one side, and when you're attaching the first side of the clasp, it doesn't matter how you which way you attach it. It's when you're adding the second one that you have to match it to the first. Now we pick up 2 seed beads, pick up the clasp, the whole of the clasp. You can attach a jump ring instead, you know, and attach any other clasp you like later. Pick up 2 seed beads. So that's what I have, 2 seed beads, clasp, and the seed bead. Now I came on this side, I go through that again from the other side, and they just pull. Now when you do it first time, it's quite loose and not everything is in place, so I'm just gonna go around and reinforce it. Go through the first 2 seed beads, go through my clasp, tie it up, and then go through the last 2 seed beads. So I'm gonna pull it tight. It's kind of creating a circle. It doesn't matter at this stage. We're gonna fix that when we attach the second side. See, it's kind of creating a circle. So I'm gonna go through the neighbor bead on the base. I'm not gonna do anything here. I'm gonna skip to the next bead. So that's the opposite side from where we attached the first loop. See where we are? And now here I'm gonna take 2 beads, go through the hole here of the clasp. We don't go through any beads that are there. Take 2 more seed beads, and then come through this side. That's it. That is our clasp. That's our loop that we attach the clasp to. Now all we have to do is reinforce it. Now I came out here, I'm gonna go through the 2 beads, go through the loop of the clasp, go through the other 2 seed beads, and then go through the base. Now that's where you want to make sure you pull your thread tight and make sure your beads are in place. Like, see here, it's creating a circle. Make sure it's like stays like that. Then pull your thread. And now I'm just gonna reinforce everything. I'm gonna go through the 2 beads here. And what I'm gonna do, I don't want beads showing up on top of the clasp. What I'm gonna do, when I came out here, I'm not gonna go through the loop. I'm gonna go down through those 2 beads of the first loop we added. So that's gonna attach. See the 2 sides, it's gonna attach. And then I'm gonna go down through the base, and then go through to the other side of the clasp. I'm gonna take these 2 beads and then go down to the neighbor beads. That way we're sort of removing those circle loops because we're attaching the beads to each other, and that way we don't get any beads stuck on the loop of the clasp. And then go down base bead, and that's it. That's all we do. And what you can do now, you can reinforce that several times. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go see where I came out. I'm gonna go up those 2 beads and see this kind of created circle here. I'm gonna reinforce that first. Go down, and then go up again. So I reinforced the first side of the loop, see? Now I'm gonna go through the clasp to the other side and do the same here. See those 5 beads that are here? I'm gonna reinforce that. Here, go down. It's quite tight, so I can't do that really. And then go up those 2 beads. And then go down. So now it's quite tight, everything here. See, 5 beads on each side, and then we don't have any beads on top of the ear. That's how you want it. Because if you have beads stuck in there, imagine we did 2 from 2 sides, right? And 2 beads next to each other, you might just end up breaking it in the future. So you don't want that happening. And now all I do is just hide my thread, make my 3 loops, and cut off the end of the thread. So I already showed you how to do that, so I'm gonna skip that and we're gonna attach the second part. Okay, I finished one side. Look, it's very cute, seamless. See? So what do we have to do? I have to do the same with the second side of the clasp, but here it's important to get it right because see how I attached my clasp? So we have to make sure we follow the same, right? You don't want it twisted. So here on the side, see how my loops went through this side to this side. So I have to make sure I do the same with the second side of the clasp. So I have my right angle weave straight. Okay, you can see the units looking up. Wait, yeah, I think this way. I can see all the units looking up. Now I have to have my loops going this way. So, and my thread is not where it's supposed to be, it's on the side. So I skip 1 bead and here on the side, that's where I'll just flip it over. That's how I attach the loop. I'm gonna take 2 beads, one of the clasp, the loop of the clasp, and 2 beads. And go through the other side. I'm going to reinforce that. I'm going to go to the other side. Pick up 2 beads. We're doing exactly the same thing like we did in the first side. Pick up 2 beads, go through the loop, and pick up 2 beads, and then go down. And created a second loop. Now it's the matter of, see, we have the same circles. It's just here, it looks like 3, but one of them is in the loop, and it's gonna come in place once we reinforce them. So all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna reinforce the last loop I made. And now I'm going to reinforce this side of the loop. Now that bead has to be on the other side, so I'm going to make sure. Because this clasp has a big hole, it's kind of went through it. But I'm just going to push it back. Yeah, that's where I have all my loops, and I'm going to take my thread through those 2 beads. Down and reinforce this circle because we don't want any beads stuck here. That's what we're doing. And then go up and then go through the loop to the other side. And then we're going to reinforce this side. I'm going to take these 2 beads. Go through the bottom one. Go through the top two. See, now the other bead wants to go to the other side, but we're not gonna let that, and we're just gonna reinforce it and keep it on this side. And that's it. Now all we do is just reinforce it. Look, see, 5 beads, 5 beads, no beads on top of in the loop itself, because that would break eventually. So now, see the top of the, and if we do this, that's it. All we have to do now is just hide the thread, make the 3 overhand knots, and cut off the ends. I already showed you how to do that, so I'll let you do it yourself. I'm gonna see you in a second. And now we have our bracelets ready. As you can see, it's very easy. Basically what I wanted to teach you is to make your cubic right angle weave, and then at the ends we just attach the clasp to not waste that sample and make our bracelet. And that's how it's attached. Now let me see if I can do it on my hand. Not very good with all sorts of things like that. Now it's pretty tight because of the loop being up. Look how cute that is. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and put the second one on as well, just so you can see it. This one's a bit more loose. Look. You know, so you can just make your bracelets fancy and attach all sorts of different clasps. And I usually used to use a lot of lobster clasps, but I got bored and ordered a lot of fancy ones, and I'm quite liking the looks, you know. And this cubic right angle is just so gorgeous. It's very simple and creates that, I don't know, a very petite look. Now we did this cubic right angle weave. Next time we're gonna make earrings with them, so make sure you practice, make sure you know how to create your cubes and build cubes on top of that, and then we're gonna take it from there. Now I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope I taught you some things you didn't know before. I hope you subscribe to my channel and watch my other videos that are coming up. I'm releasing every Tuesday and Friday, so stay tuned. Leave your thumbs up if you like this video. And feel free to share this video with your friends, with your beader fellows. So I'll be happy if people watch this and learn something new. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.